What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for another episode of the 5 Takeaways, where we're going to take a look at the 2-2 draw at Stamford Bridge and see what 5 things we can take away from the game. And let's start off with number 1, and that is a set-piece mixed bag.
Yeah, so I think Spurs showed their best and worst versions of themselves from set pieces yesterday. First of all, obviously the one we conceded, which we were doing our zonal marking system, which we seem to have been implementing from this season, and unfortunately didn't work out with that one, with Koulibaly having the freedom of the penalty area to volley home Chelsea's opening goal. But then we did start from our own accord to show a bit of quality from set pieces and a bit of variation as well. First of all, Son taking a left-footed free kick in the first half, which obviously went well over the bar, it wasn't very good. But then in the second half, he had PERISIC taking a right-footed free kick, which was a good cross, which was just headed out, and then taking 2 left-footed corners, which one from led to a dire header, which Mendy saved, and then obviously the other one led to a goal. So showing that definitely, I think Gianni Vio is starting to make an impact on our set-piece taking, but maybe we still need to sharpen up from defensive set pieces.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I don't get this whole zonal marking thing, because, like, if a player is completely free in that area of the box, surely someone has to pick him up, whether it's zonal marking or man marking or whatever. Someone needs to pick up the man, surely. It's actually so frustrating just seeing how there was literally nobody around him whatsoever. Frustrating to see. But yeah, I definitely take your point in Spurs' output in attacking set pieces definitely increasing. Obviously, we slightly got one from the first game against Southampton, where the ball came in for a corner, it came out and it went back in. And obviously against Chelsea, we had 2 really late on great deliveries from Perisic, where we could have scored from both of them, to be honest, but we only scored from one of them. But you're definitely seeing the work that's gone on the training pitch happening in real life now, so it's good to see. Really, it's good to see.
Do you reckon Perisic will be our set piece taker if he's fighting in the team permanently?
I think so. I think Conte knows exactly what he can do from set pieces. I think Son's...
But he's such a threat in the air, though.
He is such a threat in the air. I think Son's corners have been good, but I think what we saw from Perisic yesterday is just another level.
It was good. It was consistency as well, 3 in a row.
And aerially, he is very important and can provide for the team, but we do have enough players in there that can do that as well.
Yeah,
apart from him. So let's move on to our second takeaway, and that is Kane, big game record.
Yeah, so Harry Kane scored again yesterday in a game against the top 6 under Antonio Conte, and that brings up his record against top 6 teams under Conte. That's 7 games, 7 goals now against the top 6, and I think he's starting to really step up in these big games. He's always had this label that he always bottles, or he always goes missing in the big games. Whether you think that's a myth or not, that definitely isn't true under Antonio Conte, and he definitely has a really good record in these games. And I thought in general yesterday wasn't his best display, but in the few touches he did have, he did set up 2 chances, and he obviously missed a 1-on-1 and then scored. So he was quite involved in the goalmouth action, despite maybe not being involved in general play.
I think it's a myth, Kane against the big teams. I really think it's a myth. I think that if you take into account, if you're only taking like a big game player, people talk about semi-finals and finals. If you're only taking into account those games, then maybe you've got a case, but that's a case for the whole team, not just Harry Kane. If you're taking into account league games against the top 6, I don't really think there's a case for that. And I think he's consistently pretty much scored in these kind of games. So when you're looking at it, he's the top goal scorer in North London derby history, scores plenty of times against Chelsea, City, Liverpool. You know, he's scored against all these teams quite consistently over the years. So I really don't see that being a thing, to be honest.
Fair enough.
But look, big up. He definitely has improved it though since Conte has come, so that's definitely good.
Yeah, 7 and 7. That's pretty.
Yeah, that's hot. You know what I mean? But to say that he hasn't done it in the past is completely wide off the mark, though, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
So let's move on to the third takeaway, and that is Perisic impact.
Yeah, so we spoke about Perisic to set pieces, but he only had 20 minutes on the pitch, but he actually did quite a lot in those 20 minutes, given the little time he had. He completed 2 key passes, which was more than any other Tottenham player in that during the 90 minutes. He completed 2 crosses, 1 dribble, and obviously bagged that assist as well. So in those 20 minutes that he had on the pitch, he definitely made an impact. And I thought he actually helped us regain control out of a game that we had temporarily lost control of once Tuchel made some subs. And I thought down that left-hand side, he gave Reece James some trouble. And then the set pieces, he took some really good set pieces, which obviously led to us scoring goal. And look, hopefully the sooner he gets into the lineup, the better.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, you saw Sessegnon's flaws yesterday as well. And when you're talking about a chance creation machine and someone like Christian Eriksen, Perisic did more in those 20 minutes than Eriksen has done in 180 minutes so far he's played this season. So I'm loving what I've seen from Perisic so far. And yeah, like you say, I just can't wait to see him in the starting lineup. And I think it's going to come sooner rather than later. If it doesn't come in this game, I'm pretty sure it's going to come in the midweek game against West Ham. So one of the 2 games, I'm pretty sure he's going to start. Let's move on to number 4, and that is aggressive Romero.
Yeah, he had a really lively game, actually, Romero, throughout the game. Obviously, he could have been sent off with a hairpole on Cucurella.
Does he ever not have a lively game?
Yeah, that's absolutely true, but the stats bear out as well. 7 tackles, 5 interceptions, 5 clearances, and then he also completed 3 dribbles. But I think the most amazing stat of the game is he committed 0 fouls. Can you believe that? Apparently, there was not 1 foul committed by Romero. The cleanest game you'll ever see him play.
Albeit he should have been sent off, but whatever. We'll just breeze past that one.
No fouls were committed in this game by Romero.
He only just pulled Cucurella's hair to the ground.
No foul. Didn't commit a foul. But look, I thought he had a pretty solid game throughout as well. In a game where I think our back 3 struggled, I think he, for me, was the defender that did the most good work in the back 3. So good game, on a decent game on and off the ball as well. 3 dribbles completed for a centre-back. That's pretty impressive. Just got to work on his hot temper, I guess.
Yeah.
Or shithousery.
To be honest, though, like, do we want him to work on that? Because we don't want him to lose that fire at the end of the day. And sometimes when a player kind of tries to hold that back, he does lose the fire, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but if we go red card, we wouldn't have got a point, would we?
Yeah.
So
I know.
I guess it's give and take.
But he didn't get a red card.
No, he didn't get a red card. Yeah, he's done some saying. But if he didn't do that, like there wouldn't have been a talking point, and he wouldn't have had to go lucky, if you know what I mean. But no, I guess you don't want him to control it, but you just got to be smarter about it sometimes instead of doing things like that, which are so obvious. And he did get away with it. But I think he had a good game, pretty much, throughout the game.
I did think that maybe his passing wasn't maybe on point as usually, but apart from that, I think he was all right. Last but not least, the 5th and final takeaway, and that is wasteful Chelsea.
Yeah, so if you actually look at the stats, they don't maybe tell the whole story of how much control Chelsea had in the game, because the stats suggest a much closer game. Chelsea did have 64% possession, but out of the possession they had, 16 shots with only 3 on target and an XG of 1.45, whereas Tottenham had 10 shots, 5 on target and an XG of 1.08. So it definitely suggested a much closer game than maybe people would have you think played out on the pitch. But it definitely does suggest that Chelsea do still lack that cutting edge up front compared to Spurs, who did decent amount with a lot less of the ball. And we had more shots on target, nearly double their shots on target, with 6 less shots as well. So that goes to show maybe that even though Chelsea had a very good game, maybe that lack of cutting edge will make them suffer throughout the season.
Yeah, I think that it's what made them suffer over last season as well, because when Lukaku was out injured, you saw not just injured, when he was just out the side, even when he was in the side, to be fair, you saw a definite kind of decrease in their output in front of goal. I mean, Havertz just isn't a striker. Sterling just isn't a striker. And you know, they need a proper striker. That's why I said in the morning show this before that I think they missed a trick by not getting Gabriel Jesus in, because I think he actually would have been perfect for the way they play, very fluid up top as well. So look, I think they will get a striker in from now until the end of the window. They're going to have to, surely.
I'm not so certain. I think they might get another forward. Whether it's like a proper out-and-out striker, I'm not convinced that they will. They might well do, but who's out there right now? It's difficult, you know. They're talking about going for Jamie Vardy, and I think actually Aubameyang might not be a bad shout.
Aubameyang is the one that they're going for, isn't he?
Yeah, if it's Aubameyang.
Apparently, he doesn't want to go to Chelsea though.
Yeah, but I actually think he could be quite good for them, Aubameyang, to be fair, because I still think he's got it in him to score goals, and I think he's shown that in the last 6 months. So if they can get, and obviously he played under Tuchel, didn't he, at Dortmund?
He got the best out of him.
So if they can get a good Aubameyang up front, that could be the killer instinct they need.
All right, so that is our 5 takeaways. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any thoughts regarding any of these takeaways. And if you have any other takeaways from the game, let me know in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.